Hey everybody, it's Brooke with The Buttered Home and welcome to my messy kitchen. It is my most favorite time of year, and it is when we get in the kitchen and we make all kind of cookies. Cookies, treats, all of the things we love to have on hand when we have company, but also we do a lot of things like this to give as very special gifts. So you don't need a special time of year to make something homemade for somebody else. You can do that anytime. These gestures, small, sweet gestures of love and time and commitment in the kitchen really mean a lot to people that you care about. So I encourage you that you find a recipe that you love and invest in the time to make it and make it from scratch and give it to somebody that you love. And that's what we're doing today. This recipe for cinnamon roll cookies is a little lengthy. There's a lot to it, but it is probably one of the most rewarding cookies that you'll ever make. And it's easy enough, even though there's many stages and steps, that your kids can get involved with you too. Whether that's your children, your nieces, your nephews, or even your grandkids or great-grandkids. Get them in the kitchen with you and teach them the art of cooking, because that is a skill that they'll take with them for the rest of their lives. So I'm gonna hush talking and we're gonna get started. These cinnamon roll cookies is a pretty standard recipe. It just calls for all your normal cast of characters, and then we add to that and have a technique to make the cookie into something delicious and different. So this is a good base buttermilk vanilla cookie recipe that you can do all different kind of things with. So keep that in mind as we're making that together. Like any other recipe, it's going to start with room temperature butter. So we're going to put in 4 tablespoons of softened or room temperature butter, and then we're going to add in 3/4 cup of sugar to that. Now, just like any other cookie recipe, we're going to cream those things together. And the idea is just to make sure that you've picked up all of that sugar with the butter. And when you don't see any sugar remaining on the bottom of your bowl, then you have creamed it. Even if it's not creamy, you can still take your spoon and press on it and it becomes like a cream type mixture. So to this, we are going to add in 1 egg, egg white, egg yolk, the whole thing. Then 1/4 cup of buttermilk. And then to that, we are going to add in 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. And then mix that really well. When you have that mixed all very well, then we're going to prepare our dry ingredients. And in a large measuring cup, I have 2 cups of plain flour. And to that, we're going to add 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder and 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. And then just probably 1/8 teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to just mix those up. so that we get all that nice and incorporated in there. And then, like so many other things, I like to do this in batches. We're gonna add our dry ingredients to our wet. That way, if we didn't mix in the soda and the baking powder so well, it gets mixed in. So I take about half of the dry and add it to the wet and mix it up. And just like with a good cake, I scrape down the sides because that flour has a tendency to kind of creep up, especially the more we add. Scrape it down really well and mix it again, just on low speed. Now we're going to add in the other half of our dry ingredients and do the same thing. Okay, it's starting to get a little tough, so we're going to give it a good scrape down. And we're not going to over mix this, we're just going to bring it together to make sure that flour gets incorporated in really well until that soft dough forms. Which does not take long. Now I'm going to get some plastic wrap. And I apologize, I should have been better prepared and had this done ahead of time. But yes, this cookie is, you know, quite a few steps, but I promise you it's worth it. So I take my plastic wrap and lay it out, and then I get just a little bit of plain flour, not much, and sprinkle it and leave some over to the side. And then I turn my dough out on top of that flour and let's make sure we get it all out of our mixing bowl. Because this is going to have to chill for just a little bit. Let me get just a little more flour because I don't want it to stick to my plastic wrap. And I just make sure my hands are floured real well, and I kind of form it into a round disc, just like I do with my pie crust. Turn that plastic wrap over and wrap it. And now this will go in the refrigerator for about 2 hours. Overnight is best, but if you've got a couple of hours, just let this chill and let it all kind of meld together in the refrigerator. Then we're going to come back and we're going to prep this, and it'll have one more little resting time, but it's worth it, trust me. So stay with us, we'll be back. All right, so let's prepare our filling for our cinnamon roll cookies. And we are going to add in about a half a cup of brown sugar. Oh goodness, and I just spilled another half a cup on my board. Oh me, this is why I call my kitchen the messy kitchen. But if you've been with me very long, you know I am a messy cook, but it doesn't stay like this. I'll clean it up eventually. All right, and then to that we're gonna add about a half a teaspoon of cinnamon. And then I'm just gonna mix those up. And you you can add nutmeg or anything else, but this is a cinnamon roll cookie, so we're kind of keeping the ingredients, you know, rather pure here. All right, we're gonna set that to the side. And then I have 2 tablespoons of butter that I'm gonna melt really quickly. It won't take long, it's already kind of at room temperature. And then we're gonna talk a little bit about how we prepare our dough. So I like to kind of do everything on the plastic wrap because it's got one more chill time. And this chill time you can do in the freezer or the refrigerator. If you do it in the freezer, you can have your cookies ready to bake in probably about 30 minutes. So I get two pretty large pieces of plastic wrap and kind of overlap them. Then I need to flour my hands because the dough, even though it has chilled, it's still pretty sticky. But we're going to take it up and put it in the middle of our plastic wrap. And I kind of like to get things started with my hands and just kind of press it out. But this is eventually going to be kind of a large rectangle. And you can continue just to press it out with your hands if you would like, or you can use a rolling pin. And if you don't have a rolling pin, you can use a clean wine bottle. So we're just gonna make sure that this gets all even. And I like doing it on the plastic wrap for 2 reasons. You can kind of move it around a bit and get it situated how you need it. But we want something eventually that sort of resembles a rectangle. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then we want to keep that flour nearby because the cookie dough will start to stick to your rolling pin or your wine bottle or your hands. But you see, mine ends up being more of kind of a large round, and that is okay. That is okay. So what we're going to do next is get that butter that we melted, and we're just going to brush it over the cookie dough because we're getting a sticky surface for our cinnamon roll goodies to go on. And just butter that whole thing, edges and all. Now we take our brown sugar and cinnamon mixture and we're just going to sprinkle it over the top. I got some hard pieces of brown sugar in here I need to get out. As evenly as we can, and you can take your hand and just kind of spread it out. I like to leave a little space at the edges. Just to roll it up. We want just a good even layer. Now I use the plastic wrap here to help me get started. And just take that edge and start to roll it over. And we just want to make like a jelly roll. And the plastic wrap is so helpful because it does all the work for you and keeps your hands clean, because this is a sticky, 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 sticky dough. All right, we're gonna roll on over And let me get that plastic wrap out. And see, I busted a little bit, but you know what? That is okay. Because what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take it and kind of tuck the edges and put that busted seam on the bottom so you don't even really realize that it's there. Now, I like to take a little sheet pan and put it on the sheet pan. And then, like I said, you can put this in the freezer or you can chill it in the refrigerator. In the freezer, you want to chill it for about 30 minutes. In the refrigerator, you want to chill it for about 2 hours at least. This is one of those things. It's a labor of love, okay? So we're going to chill this, and then we're going to come back and we're going to show you how to make the icing. And how to cut these out and cook them, and then we'll wrap things up. We have finished a 2-hour chill time, and I have taken our little log out, and before I start to handle him, I'm going to just put a little flour on my hands because it is cookie dough, so it's pretty sticky. But you just want to make a clean cut at about 1/2 of an inch. And don't worry about if it's flat on the bottom. It'll be fine. It'll cook up all nice and round. So we're just going to fit these about 2 inches apart on a parchment lined cookie sheet. Or if you don't have parchment, you can do this on a lightly greased cookie sheet. I would suggest, since it has that sugar-filled center, that you do use a little cooking spray if you don't have parchment. But after it's set up and gotten nice and firm, we're just going to place these on the cookie sheet, and I have got the oven preheated to 350 degrees. And then we will cook these for about 10 to 12 minutes. Then we'll let them cool, and we will ice them. And first, before we ice them, we'll show you how to make the icing because it's real simple. So stay with us. We'll be back. We finished a 12-minute cook time, and these guys are beautiful. They look just like a cinnamon roll. Now, I cut mine kind of thick. I cut them at about 1/2 inch, so it makes kind of a thick cookie, but you can cut them thinner, and of course, when you cut them thinner, you'll get more. At about 1/2 inch, I got about 18 cookies, and you hear Whit in the background. He's excited. He's ready for his cinnamon roll cookies. But I got about 18, but if you cut them just a little bit thinner, you can probably get 2 dozen out of that one making of the cookies. So now, what good is the cinnamon roll without that delicious cream cheese frosting, right? So we're going to make that on a much smaller scale. We have 2 tablespoons of softened room temperature butter that we're going to add. And then we have 2 ounces of softened cream cheese that we're going to add all into a small little bowl. And then we have 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla that we're going to add. And then we have 1/2 cup of powdered sugar. Okay, then I have some milk over here to the side. So we're going to mix this first, and then we're going to put our milk in to just make sure that we get it the consistency that we want. So if you like real thick frosting, you can leave it right here. We're going to add some milk, about a tablespoon or a teaspoon at a time, until it gets kind of thin, because I want this to be kind of a thin icing where it just kind of hardens on top of the cookie. All right. a little bit more. All right, there we go. It's dribbling just a little bit, so I think it's perfect. So we're going to pop these in the sink. Now, you can take them and you can just get a little offset spatula and ice them if you want to. We also like to just show you that you can just dip them in it too. And then we let them continue to cool with that icing on the top. And look, I lost a piece of the cookie. So we just dip them all in there, and you could get it a little thinner or a little thicker, whatever your preference is. Just add that milk in until it reaches the consistency that you desire. Just a minute. Oh, look, I broke a cookie. Fooling with Reagan. Here, Reagan, you can have that one. You and Wit and Tanner can have that one. All right, so I've gotten my hands all nice and sticky, and look how pretty they look, just like a cinnamon roll, except it's better. It's a cookie because it lasts longer. Doesn't have to be hot to eat it. It's still good. So let's turn things around and wrap this up. Okay, we're back. Y'all, these are fantastic. They are delicious. Crispy on the outside, soft on the inside. They get just the right amount of cinnamon, and they're Wit approved. He's got icing all over him. This is why he doesn't have any clothes on. Is it good? It's so good. Is it so good? It is so good. Y'all, they're fantastic. And I know it seems like a lot to the process. Here, y'all can. He loves to eat, so when he sees food, he grunts, and it's the best thing ever. But anyway, it's a lot to this process because you have like 2 chilling times, but it's worth it. They're fresh, they're delicious, and they just taste like everything about homemade that you would want. And it's kind of an original cookie. I mean, you take these pretty little things somewhere, and people bite into it and they think they're getting a cinnamon roll, and then it's got the texture of a cookie. It's the perfect thing. So we hope that you'll try this recipe and make it for somebody that you love, or give it as a food gift. They're wonderful for that. And we hope that you will go get the recipe at our website at thebutteredhome.com. I cannot think this afternoon. I'm so sorry. And as usual, if you're not already, make sure you're following us on all of our social channels. We have a real good time, and we want you here for it all. And as always, if you want all of our videos in the same one convenient place, head over to YouTube, search for The Buttered Home, and when you find us, hit that subscribe button so that you can be notified when we drop new videos like this one. Wit's got lots of cookies to eat, and we probably need to take some to Big D too, don't we? So, y'all have a great evening, and from the buttered home to your home, we love y'all. Bye.